Welcome to Mind Shield. We protect the mind and pursue the truth. Let's get started.
Welcome to Mind Shield Academy. Today, we are getting into the real backbone of our movement, our community rules. Now look, this isn't about being restrictive. It's about building a disciplined, super effective community that can actually protect survivors, preserve our mission, and, take real, meaningful action together. So, let's dive in.
This quote, this really hits the nail on the head. Unfocused anger, chaotic accusations, just disorganized action, it doesn't just fail, it actively makes things so much worse. Harassment campaigns, they absolutely thrive on confusion and fragmentation. So when we generate more drama than actual data, we're basically creating the perfect storm for them to operate in, and we end up discrediting ourselves in the process.
So, our solution is what we call the community shield. I want you to think of this as our strategic framework. It's not just some long list of don'ts. Nope, it's a proactive system, and it's designed specifically to keep us safe, to make our work credible, and to make sure that every single action we take is based on solid evidence. It keeps us moving forward instead of just spinning our wheels. All right, let's start with the absolute foundation of the shield, our non-negotiable rules. These are the bedrock. They are fundamental to our safety, our legality, and frankly, the integrity of our community. There are absolutely no gray areas here.
The first rule is dead simple: no doxing. We never, ever, ever publish someone's private information. Not their address, not their phone number, family details, where they work, nothing. Doing that isn't just illegal and dangerous, it's literally adopting the exact same tactics that are used against us. We build cases, we do not incite mobs, period.
Second, and this is just as absolute, no threats. Any communication, whether it's implied or stated right out loud, that has a threat of violence or harm is completely forbidden. That is a line we will never cross. Our power comes from our evidence and from lawful action, not from trying to intimidate people.
And third, no retaliation. I'm going to say this plainly. We are not vigilantes. Any unsanctioned, freelance kind of retaliation puts the entire community at risk, both legally and physically. All of our actions have to go through the proper, vetted, lawful channels. The goal here is justice, not street justice.
So building on those core rules, we have what we call our protective guardrails. A really key one is avoiding what we call certainty cosplay. Basically, we don't pretend to be doctors making diagnoses or lawyers making legal claims online. We just don't do it. We also steer clear of those big, sweeping, paranoid claims that everyone is in on it unless there is hard proof. And of course, we have a sacred duty to protect the identities of minors and the locations of people's homes and workplaces. These guardrails stop speculation from spiraling into dangerous falsehoods.
And this chart right here just brilliantly illustrates why these rules are so critical. It contrasts documented harassment tactics with our protective rules. You see, they use slander to isolate their targets. We counter that with a strict reliance on documented facts. They try to ostracize people. We counter that by carefully building a real support network. They use fear. Our rule is that all communication has to be calm and constructive. We are literally building the antidote to their playbook.
Okay, so with that strong defensive foundation locked in, we can start to shift to offense. Now let's get into our process. This is exactly how we turn a raw claim into a credible, usable case file, all while keeping that discipline we've been talking about.
We use a system we call the evidence ladder. It's designed to take the chaos of incoming information and give it structure. It all starts at step 1, with a personal report or an anecdote. Then you build on it. A pattern log adds consistency. Digital artifacts, screenshots and logs, provide objective proof. Corroborating witnesses add another layer. And the gold standard, step 5, is getting validation from a neutral third-party expert. This whole process forces us to be rigorous and shows us exactly how strong any piece of evidence really is.
Now this question right here, this might be the most important question in our entire process. We are constantly asking ourselves, what would falsify this? And look, this isn't about creating doubt, it's about building strength. It forces us to separate what we observed from what we interpreted. It helps us find the weaknesses in our own case before an adversary does. This kind of peer review is what makes our evidence prosecutor grade.
The rules and the processes are absolutely vital, but they only work if they're supported by the community's culture. And I want to be really clear about something. In this community, moderation isn't about censorship. Moderation is about protection. It's about protecting the mission, protecting the evidence, and protecting every single member of this group. The crucial point is this: we actively shape our culture by what we choose to reward. We encourage documentation, calm language, and sourced claims. At the same time, we actively discourage endless venting, wild speculation, and unvetted accusations. A post that has a detailed log and a clear question is just infinitely more valuable than one that's just raw panic. We reward documentation, not drama.
And this is why it matters so much. We've all seen how some support groups can accidentally just amplify anxiety, creating these awful paranoia loops. And even worse, some can be infiltrated by people who want to gather intelligence or spread disinformation. A disciplined, moderated space acts as a shield against both of those threats, and it ensures that the group remains a genuine resource.
So, what does all of this look like in practice? Once you have a disciplined, secure community, what can you actually do to help each other? This is where all that hard work really pays off, and the shield becomes this powerful tool for mutual aid.
This right here is the payoff. Instead of just sharing fear, we share strength. We have systems for safety check-ins. We maintain and share lists of vetted lawyers and technical experts we can trust. We use a buddy system because, let's face it, filling out logs or going to appointments is just easier with a friend. And we help each other with really practical things, like doing digital hygiene audits to help secure phones and email accounts. This is concrete, effective support. And we always emphasize lawful and immediate safety channels. We are a support network. We are not a replacement for law enforcement or emergency services. For ongoing harassment, a resource like Victim Connect is invaluable. And if anyone is ever in immediate danger, the first and the only step is to call 911. Our work is meant to support these channels, never to bypass them.
So, let's bring it all together. The benefit of this community shield is really threefold. Its safety for our members, its credibility for our evidence, and its real-world impact from our actions. A community that adopts these rules, it literally transforms itself. It moves from being just a collection of distressed individuals into a focused, effective organization that's capable of real collective action.
Okay, so we've built the shield. We've established our process. The next step is to take our credible, evidence-backed cases and get them to the people who can actually create change. So in our next explainer, we're going to tackle a crucial skill: how to work with journalists and the media, how to tell your story effectively without getting smeared or exposed in the process. I'll see you then.